Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and I have with me again the Kurzweil Forte today. Now, when people go out and they try this Forte out, and especially when they see that high price on it, which is just under $4,000 street price, they would expect the piano to be a little bit more than it is. In other words, it ships with this really nice pedal for sustain. Now, the sustain pedal is basically an off-on switch. It's either on or off, and when it's on, it simulates lifting up the dampers from the strings. So you hold a note while this is on, and when you lift up, the note is released, okay? All right, and you can tell this is just a switch because it has one band around this, one black band, making it a tip sleeve connection. Tip and sleeve. So, so you would think if you hooked up a tip ring sleeve pedal, like the Korg DS1H, which is a variable half damper pedal, that it would work. No, it doesn't because it didn't support or doesn't support right now half pedaling. And if you look at the back switch inputs, you're going to see 5 inputs. You're going to see a bank of 3 switched inputs, and they're labeled as switched. Switched meaning off and on. So switches, pedals, like this. It's basically off and on with a 1 band to indicate tip sleeve. Then you've got a couple of CC or continuous controllers for things like expression volume. So now I happen to be one of the lucky people that has gotten a hold of the latest beta operating system. And that beta operating system, I am happy to report, does support half pedaling. And I'm wondering how it can do that when the first switch, actually all 3 switched inputs, are switched. You need a continuous controller input, which is well, not exactly like that. You need basically a tip ring sleeve to support that. Well, it turns out that switch input number 1 really isn't switched. The hardware is there all along to support a half pedal input. Now they're recommending the Korg Kronos DS1H. Really nice damper pedal here. And when you press it down, it reports back to the board how far you're pressing it instead of just on off. All right, so I installed the new operating system, and supposedly it has support for that. So I plugged it in, and it turns out that they're saying it's only switch 1 that supports this half damper stuff with the new operating system. It probably shouldn't be labeled as a switched input, but it is labeled as sustain or damper on part of that input jack to indicate it's only for like the Korg DS1H. All right, so here's the thing. I'm playing a chord, right? I'm not holding the pedal down, so it's not sustained. Now I'm holding the pedal all the way down. Of course, it's sustained. I'm lifting it up. Now, let's press that pedal down just a little bit at a time while I'm playing. Okay, nothing right now. Now a little bit. You can start to hear the sustain. And a little more. And a little more. And finally all the way. You hear the difference. I'm going to start lifting back up. Back down to nothing. So it does definitely support that. I'm happy to report that. That really is a good feeling to have that. So that will be coming to, if you already have a Forte, that new operating system will be released as soon as it's out of beta period, and you will have half pedal damping. So that is really cool. And it's not just the I mean, technically a half pedal damping is you've got the pedal and you've got three positions that it's going to support: off, half, and full. So fully depressed, half depressed, and off. No matter where you are, at some point it's going to trigger the half, and at some point it's going to trigger the whole. Well, it turns out with the Korg DS1H, and I believe one of the Roland variable or half damper pedals also, it acts the same way as this. It's not just three position, it's the full variable. Depending on how far you've pressed it or how little you're pressing it, it is reporting that position. So it's going through the full spectrum. That is so cool. I am so happy that they're doing that. And anybody who's a pianist can understand, why I'm happy. All right. So that's one of the things that Forte has geared for the future. And I'll report more as soon as I know more. Piano Man Chuck. Peace out. Thanks for watching.